I was watching from home the cameras and I could see the smoke starting to fill the area. I had cameras indoors and outdoors, and I could also see that the cameras were showing smoke starting to seep into the facility. And suddenly the cameras go out when wildfires were approaching my factory. What the cost implications were, the strategies and the frameworks that we had in place. We'll go through an AI demonstration. So let's get into it. We talk about how to reduce your costs, how to avoid excessive costs. How do you sustain those results, and how do you increase results and putting more money in your pocket and more money in your bottom line? And we do all of this through the lens of studying people, systems, innovation, and technology. And the technology that we are currently using is AI. You are an expert at creating risk mitigation plans, emergency preparedness plans. Do you understand?
Yes.
I'm going to start by sharing with you a personal experience in managing through a wildfire when I was in charge of a pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. Do you understand?
Yes.
Once I give you that information, I'm going to share with you the things that went well and the things that did not. If I forget, make sure you remind me.
Will do.
Can you tell me what the date was of the Silverado Canyon fires?
I think that October of 2003.
No, it was something around 2021.
Oh yeah, you're right. I mixed it up. The Silverado Canyon fires, like the ones in Orange County, were around October 22nd, 2021.
Yes.
My bad for pulling the wrong date.
So as you can see, I will later be sharing with you an image that I took.
Gotcha.
So it was a Monday morning and I had taken the day off. I was home and I rarely got a chance to take the day off in my job in charge of the factory. And I decided that since there are always emergencies that happen at 5 p.m. on Fridays, whenever I would try and take a Friday off, I could never actually do that. So I said, let me go ahead and take a Monday off and see if I could just get some rest. It was nonstop emergency after emergency.
Sounds like you were burned out even before the wildfire hit.
So I wake up on Monday morning, my phone is ringing off the hook. Now, you all remember that famous COVID map, John Hopkins, that we were looking at for about 2 years, it seems. I don't know, but we were watching the COVID map where the virus was spreading across the country, first in New York, then here, then there. Don't quote me on that. That's not the point of the story. The point was, as we were watching that map over a long period of time, I could draw a parallel to the wildfires. As the wildfires were spreading, we were looking at the maps online and it was spreading so fast. So all of this had to happen in under 30 minutes. Now imagine you are manufacturing products, you're manufacturing drug products. Sometimes the processing time can be hours or days. Being able to quickly gather the leadership team.
Yeah, that's intense. Like watching a wildfire tracker race across the map in real time. With everything happening in under 30 minutes, you had to rally the leadership team fast. How'd you manage that call?
What we did is we had to very quickly make a call ahead of when we were in direct threat. So as the fire was spreading towards the facility, they hadn't called it an evacuation zone yet, but I didn't want to wait till that point because it was clearly heading in the direction of the facility. People first, everyone's safety, number one. So the first thing was get everything wrapped up. Worst case scenario is we lose batches, but we're not going to lose people. That's priority one. Again, remember that no one had made a call to evacuate yet, but I was predicting that we would need to evacuate. And if we ended up not needing the evacuation and I had already sent everyone home, yes, I probably might get a slap on the hand from my boss who was in New York, but I had to make the call because I was in charge of the factory in California. At this point, wrap up the processes. I'm making an assumption that we are going to need to evacuate. Once we did that, immediately the calls went out from my team. They started wrapping everything up. People eventually, within a very short time period, got out of the facility. Now I had 3 facilities. One facility, each one of them was about 1 mile apart from each other. The one facility that was closest to the wildfire ended up going into a mandatory evacuation. By this point, I was looking at the view from my place, which was about 7 miles away, and all I see is tons of smoke. I'm in a panic, and people are telling me at the facility that smoke is starting to come into the area. So thankfully, we got everyone out. What did I learn after that? People first, right? Secondly, I was looking at, well, if we can actually save any of our critical...
You made the right call, getting everyone out safely before the smoke hit. So after, what'd you realize about saving critical stuff?
So here is how the night played out. I was watching from home the cameras and I could see the smoke starting to fill the area. I had cameras indoors and outdoors, and I could also see that the cameras were showing smoke starting to seep into the facility. Never have I gone through this before, but I'm watching from home and suddenly the cameras go out. And this was now about 9 p.m. in the evening. I had access to the cameras in the 2 other buildings, but I didn't have access at all to this building. Now, I can't go to the plant. My natural instinct was want to go see what's wrong. I couldn't send anyone there because it was an evacuation zone. Neither would they let anyone in there if I tried. But my instinct was to see what happened to my cameras, who shut them off. What I discovered was quite surprising. We had not been cleared to return for about 36 hours later. And once we did, I was the first one at that facility to see what we had. The area was super smoky. And I remember one of the biggest mistakes I made was going into the airlock doors, and I opened the doors and did not expect the most unbelievable smoke smell I've ever smelled. I started coughing and choking. And what had actually happened was we lost power to the facilities. So I thought, why don't we have a generator for the facility? That's why we lost the cameras. But also, like, entering into that airlock area, never would I have expected that it would be like someone taking my head and shoving it into an ashtray of cigarettes. It was so bad.
Wow, that's awful. Like an ashtray ambush. So, no backup generator? That's a huge oversight for a pharma plant.
Huge oversight. Our servers were down. I had no camera access. And what happened was, because of the loss of power and because of no generator, the dampers to the building, the air coming into the building, the dampers closed. So the smoke was seeping into the dampers and then filled the facility, and it couldn't go anywhere. But in that airlock where there's no airflow, when there's no power, it ended up just soaking in that area, soaking into the walls. The entire facility smelled like smoke. Every drum container that was in the warehouse was covered with soot. The entire commercial manufacturing area was filthy, filled with dust. The smell, I thought, there's no way this smell is going to get out. How did we handle it?
We called in environmental testing. Had to prove we hadn't contaminated anything.
Stop. I'm supposed to answer that.
Oh, right, go for it. How'd you get the smoke out?
In hindsight, here's what happened. We lost 1 week of production. I thought there is no way the smell is ever going to get out of here. We had to rent these giant fans to air out, open up the entire facility. Obviously, it went from what they call a GMP area to non-GMP area. We had to take it out of that designated status because it was inoperable. We aired out the facility with probably, I would say, an estimated 5, 6 very, very large fans, cleaned every drum container, cleaned every wall surface. But in hindsight, we lost 1 week of production. Once it started to air out, I did some reflection on some other things that I should have thought of, and I didn't. And one of them was all of our most expensive raw materials were located in that building. I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars worth of ingredients. Since I had 2 other facilities that were not near the evacuation area, I thought, why didn't I have those sent over to another building?
Yeah, could have moved the big ticket ingredients to the safer buildings. No point watching millions go poof. Anything else you realized after the fans and
I was so appreciative of my amazing team because we had all hands on deck, and there is nothing that could have prepared you for something that was spreading so fast towards the building. But ultimately, I was proud of my team on getting together, getting everyone out of there, getting everything wrapped up. We ended up losing no product as a result of it, but we did lose a week of production.
that sounds amazing. Your team's instincts were spot on. Getting everyone out without losing product, huge win, downtime.
We had a business continuity plan that addressed these types of issues. However, when we look at it in hindsight, you're not going to have time to go and pick it up and figure out what am I going to do. What I found was it was way too high level. So what I'm looking for from you is to craft for me a business continuity disaster recovery plan that uses my experience to give me a very detailed emergency response plan.
Here's a detailed business continuity and disaster recovery plan, tailored to your wildfire experience at the pharmaceutical manufacturing facility. It's granular, action-focused, and built to avoid the gaps you hit. Vague plans, no generator, and vulnerable raw materials. Let's break it down into clear sections with specific steps for wildfire threats, keeping people, product, and production safe. Pre-incident preparedness. Goal: anticipate and prepare for rapid threats like wildfires without relying on last-minute decisions. 1. Develop a tiered alert system. Set up real-time monitoring for fire risk, using local weather alerts, satellite fire maps, and nearby fire department updates. Assign a designated fire lead, maybe a senior operator, to check updates hourly during high-risk seasons, summer, fall. Use a color-coded system. 0, no immediate threat, normal operations. Fire within 10 miles or wind patterns suggest risk. Activate partial protocols. Fire within 5 miles or evacuation warnings issued. Trigger full evacuation plan. Create a shared dashboard like a secure Slack channel or intranet so everyone sees the same data. Inventory critical assets. Map value raw materials, e.g., your ingredients and critical equipment. Label them Priority 1, irreplaceable or costly, and Priority 2, replaceable but important. Store Priority 1 items in both fire-prone and safer facilities, your other 2 buildings. Schedule monthly audits to confirm locations and quantities. Example: move 500K of specialty APIs to Facility B during fire season. Generator and power back. Your lack of a generator was a killer. Smoke got trapped, cameras died, Install industrial generators at each facility with enough capacity for HVAC dampers, cameras, and critical systems for at least 48 hours. Test monthly with logs signed off by maintenance. Budget for auto start generators to kick in within 60 seconds of power loss. And smoke alarms tied to generator alerts to avoid airlock disasters. Airflow and smoke mitigation. Since smoke soak the airlocks and walls, retrofit facilities with high efficiency particulate air, HEPA filters, and smoke closing dampers that stay active during power outages. Add manual overrides for airlocks to prevent ashtray ambush. Seal walls with smoke resistant coatings like those used in clean rooms to minimize odor absorption. Train staff to never open airlocks during active fire threats without checking smoke levels first. Training and drills. Your team's quick response was gold. Build on it. Conduct quarterly wildfire drills, simulating a 30-minute decision window. Practice evacuations, batch shutdowns, and asset relocation. Rotate roles so everyone knows how to act if the fire lead is unavailable. Include what-if scenarios, power failure, no cameras, or no access to one fatal. Keep a post-drill checklist to fix gaps, like, did we forget to move raw materials? 2. Emergency response during incident. Goal, act fast to protect people and assets when fire risk spikes, like your Monday morning panic. Immediate leadership call. You nailed getting leadership on a call. Formalize it. Use a preset group chat or conference line, e.g., Zoom, with all key managers. Within 5 minutes of the fire lead triggers the call. Assign roles. One person confirms fire location, another checks facility status, and a third starts evacuation. Keep a script. Confirm headcount, secure priority 1 assets, initiate shutdown. Evacuation.
What happened to you?
Just dozing off. Been a long chat. Where were we? Generator and power back.
Actually, I hate to interrupt you, but can you just give me a checklist with all of your recommendations?
Sure. Here's your wildfire specific checklist. Quick, actionable stuff. Hold from what you went. 1. Monitoring. Live wildfire feed plus hourly fire lead checks. 2. Tiered alerts.
Okay, so you get the point. And granted, you might not be in a wildfire area, but that's not the point here. The point is to trigger the thought for you, what have I not thought of? And you should be doing that all the time, because needless to say, there will always be something. But do you have a plan in place? Use the AI tools so you can be prompted to think of things that you may not have in place. For example, I really liked that it was telling me that have a wildfire drill. Never thought about it. We have other types of drills. Why not a wildfire drill? Because when something is spreading that fast, your time to respond, especially if you're not at the facility and then lose camera access, your time to respond to something like that is very, very little. So you have to get ahead of this. So as always, I emphasize people first, systems, have strong systems for events like this that may be unexpected. Test the systems regularly, train people on the systems. The more you can actually simulate the actual event, the better, because it really resonates with people. And then innovation, people, strong systems, innovation, and technology. You might be resistant to using AI, but it's here to stay. So may as well use it to your advantage. So what in this video did you take away from it? Tell me in the comment section. What things triggered the thought for you? Oh, I don't have a plan in place for this, or I'm going to go ahead and use Grok or my favorite AI platform to generate some ideas of things I may not have thought of. I'm going to gather my team together. We're going to go through all the what if scenarios. It's never going to be perfect, but having a system in place to continuously review it and take it to the next level is how we use innovation. Was this low effort for you? Did you find it useful? Was it high impact? Are the tools that I shared with you easy to apply? Let me know in the comments section. If you know of anyone that may benefit from this type of material, I would appreciate it so much if you just take a second and share it with them. As a reminder, if you are seeking professional development credits, please reach out to info@aesresults.com. I am an Everything Disc authorized partner. If you are seeking to become certified in Everything Disc, please reach out. info@aesresults.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.